Okay, I have been preaching since forever on this, okay? And in this week's Strides Revisited, I really want to go back on this because if you've been struggling with your lunging, there is a really good chance this is the reason. Your lunge line is not your steering wheel, nor is it your brake. And today I want to dive right into that to give you this little reminder in Strides Revisited. Okay, let's dive in. If your lunging is not what you want it to be or not as enjoyable as you would want it, is it possible that you are using the lunge line, maybe for the wrong reasons? The lunge line is not to keep your horse on the circle. Hi there, my name is Orna Leeson and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. And I know that was like a real bombshell, eh? There's people who are going to listen to this and go, what? Of course it is. No. If you're using your lunge line to keep your horse on the circle, that's why it's not that enjoyable. Like having a tug-of-war with something that outweighs you by 10 times or more is not going to be that enjoyable. And that tug-of-war is not going to allow you to develop your aids and to develop the conversation between you and the horse. And of course, here at the Daily Strides podcast, that's what we're all about. We're all about developing the conversation, really and truly taking it deeper, really and truly getting to know, to realize, to understand what you're doing, and to then begin to notice the effect it's having on your horse, the response your horse is giving you, and tweaking it to improve the overall situation and the overall outcome. And I wanted today really and truly to talk about the fact that the lunge line is maybe different to how you've been thinking about it. You see, I feel that there seems to be two camps of riders. There's riders who do not enjoy using any sort of artificial aids. Well, they claim to. And yet, the same riders go out there and find themselves a rope. But anyway, I digress. There seems to be this kind of move away from artificial aids. And then there seems to be another group of riders. I suppose there's three groups of riders. The other group of riders are using artificial aids, but using them all the wrong way. And then you have the third group who are actually, using the artificial aids the correct way, which is to back up your natural aids. And that is true whether you're on the ground, you're lunging, you're in the saddle, you're long lining, it makes no odds. What you're doing with your horse, your artificial aids are there to back up your natural aids. And the whole kind of aim, if you want to set it as a goal, you don't have to, but if you wanted to set it as a goal, you could actually begin to move towards removing your artificial aids, taking them out of the conversation. And the aid that I want to talk about today to actually help you with your lunging and help you to begin developing contact down the lunge line is an artificial aid. It's the boundary. It's the arena boundary. Okay. Now, a lot of people do not believe in having arena boundaries. A lot of people don't like boundaries. Those same people are the people who normally complain about things, and the complaint is there because a boundary has been broken. Let's be honest. Okay. So if we could just get clear on this and decide that, okay, you know what? Let's give it a go. Let's set up a boundary. Let's do what Lorna says and we'll put it into action. And then from there, begin seeing how that one artificial aid, that's all it is, it's an artificial aid, could then begin to support your natural aids in your lunging. Okay? So how do we go about setting up a boundary? Well, I would say, first of all, that you need to really understand what the boundary is. It's something that you can see, that it's visible. Not only you can see it, your horse can see it too. Very visible, very real, okay? Not just like a boundary in your head. This is an actual physical thing that you're going to construct or build or erect or whatever you want to use, whatever word, verb. You can just get it up there, build it, make it, okay? So I would say that if you're in a field, you could use kind of pegs with white tape. That would help. If you're already using a bigger arena, use jumping stands, jumping uprights and poles to create a boundary, to create a smaller arena within a bigger arena. But there's lots of different ways you can do it. It just takes probably about a half an hour of your time and your effort to get out there and get it done. I also suggest size being important. I would not go any bigger than a 20 by 20. Okay, 20 meters by 20 meters. That's a good size. That's where I'd stick to, okay, for this. Now, from there, I want you to begin lunging and noticing the effect this boundary is going to have. So let's go back to where I want to take this, which is the lunge line, and how the boundary is going to actually help support you to use the lunge line in order to create contact with your horse, okay? So if I take kind of the first example, which is the person having the tug of war, I've seen this. The horse is completely turned in towards the person, like its head is been pulled in. Its back end is jackknifing out around there. The horse is, I don't know if it's a form of leg yielding, not quite sure if we really call it that, but it could be similar, around the circle, okay? There's no straightness, there's definitely no contact. It causes the horse to get very heavy in front, so we're not having any sort of lightness, we're not having any sort of balance, we're not having any sort of steadiness, and it's exhausting for everybody. It's even exhausting for the people watching because it's epic. It's like this epic battle. And it's not enjoyable. Well, I don't know why anybody would want to lunge like that. You're not in any shape or form improving anything. In fact, you're probably undoing what you're doing in the saddle. You're undoing your training. You're undoing all the good work you've been doing up to this point by pulling your horse around by the head or by the nose or by the mouth or by whatever way you choose to do this, okay? But by the front of its body. You're pulling the horse around. So let's say now we've got our boundary set up. The first thing would be is to begin actually allowing the horse to see, first of all, there's a boundary there. What you could do is you could use a helper in this situation. You could ask the helper to lead the horse around you, basically. So you're in the center of your circle. And I just want to point out here, we had a live webinar last week about lunging. And one of the things that came up was how sometimes riders seem to think that lunging requires them to stand stationary in the center of the circle. No. Lunging is very active, very active. If you want to do something to up your fitness game and you want to involve your horse in it, lunging is a great way to do that, okay? I highly, highly, highly suggest it. I encourage it. It's good. Okay, so it's very active. You're moving. Your horse is moving around you, but you're staying there. And in moving, you get to then kind of change things like your position, your body language. It's lovely. There's always this movement going on, and that increases suppleness. And suppleness is something that even when we're lunging, we are actively encouraging in both ourselves and our horses. So movement's very important. But anyway, back to your helper circling you with your horse. And they're on the outside, you're on the inside. Obviously, they are not between you and the horse, they're on the outside. So once the helper has defined the track, defined the arena, defined the boundary with your horse, your helper can vanish, okay? They can disappear there through your trusty little fence, okay? There we go, off, they're gone. Now, from there, you can begin using your position and your body language and your other aids. You've lots of aids, you've natural aids, you've artificial aids, you've lots of aids there, okay? Your voice as well being one of them. To begin putting pressure on your horse using the boundary, okay? Now if you're asking, Lorna, what do you mean by that? You're basically, it's like a squeeze. Think of pressure. What's pressure? Pressure's a squeeze, okay? You're going to use your other aids with the boundary fence to put a bit of a squeeze on your horse, okay? And in doing so, think about this. What happens if you were riding and you began to, maybe with your legs, your lower legs, you began to put a bit of a squeeze, but then you made space to allow the horse to move through? What would happen? Your horse would begin to create energy. And the energy then is what you want to then begin to connect up in order to actually begin directing the energy. That's how it works in the saddle. You understand that? Wonderful. That's exactly how it works on the lunge as well. You're going to connect that energy up using your lunge line. There you go. You see? Now you're not using your lunge line to actually keep your horse on the circle anymore because your boundary's doing that for you. Now you can begin to actually do the real work. Now you can begin to use the lunge line to really and truly encourage the horse, to encourage contact, to encourage connection, to encourage the horse to begin to work and begin to be more almost using their natural abilities more. You're going to enhance things more with your horse, okay? So hopefully that all makes sense. You understand why you need this boundary, okay? And maybe if your lunging up to this point has not been what it should have been or what you wanted it to be, you're now a little bit clearer regarding the boundary, regarding all of this. And if you would like more help with this, I'm going to invite you to join me inside of Connection. This month, we are talking about the half halt on the lunge specifically. We're actually doing the next 3 months are going to be all about the half halt. We transition into the saddle next month. But the half halt on the lunge is what we're talking really and truly about this month. And I'm actually doing a full live training tomorrow. So if you catch this on the day that it is published, it'll be tomorrow being Tuesday the 6th of October, a live training on how to actually begin developing your contact on the lunge, and I would love for you to join me there. So what you can do is you can pop on over to stridesforsuccess.com/October, and you can find all the details there to join me inside of Connection. Lunging really and truly has the power to not only transform you as a rider, but also to transform your horse. It transforms the whole conversation. You get to have the conversation from the perspective of the trainer, not from the rider, so you can actually see in real time what's going on. And really and truly, if you take anything from this, go out, set up your boundary, and think about how then you can use the boundary in order to really begin having the conversation with your horse. Okay, have a great week, keep well, and I'll chat to you soon. And once more, if you want to join me inside of Connection, you can do so over at stridesforsuccess.com/October, and it's cancel any time. So if you don't like it, you can leave. No hard feelings. Have a good one, keep well, and I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye. So there you have it. Now, if you are keen to do more with this and you're thinking, yes, this could be the key to the kingdom, because I'm telling you now, it could be, hey, make sure you get over and you join us inside of Connection. We are working on the half halt, specifically the half halt for this final quarter of 2025. So October, November and December, but we're starting off with lunging and then we're getting into the saddle. So you get the whole, there's a whole kind of an arc, if you want, okay, that you can use to really and truly refine and set you and your horse up for an amazing year ahead come January. So you can get all the details over at stridesforsuccess.com/join. And you can also, if you're needing a little bit more of a hand-holding session, if you need a little bit more accountability, if you just want somebody to bounce ideas off of and to get feedback, check out the virtual lessons. We can do those together. You can find all the details over at stridesforsuccess.com/or. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Have a fantastic day. Keep well. I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.